So it's been several weeks now since actor George Clooney drove his career into the ground, and we all know that George Clooney, as we speak, is desperately trying to repair his career at all costs, whether it's going on various talk shows or radio shows to really set his record straight or to set his side of the story straight to the general public. He is trying to win back the many fans that he lost, fans that once were supporting his actual acting work, whether it was movies or television from the past, or whatever it may have been, or his endorsement or his work with Nespresso, all of which, of course, are being boycotted right now by a large portion of not just the public, but even fans that are no longer fans of George Clooney. This is Mike Zero. Subscribe if you're new and like this video to see future updates. You can also follow me at Mike01. I thank you also very much for the great and kind support. So we know that the growing numbers of those that are no longer fans of George Clooney are getting quite concerning to his team, which, by the way, is a combination of his agent, his manager, those that are publicists, of course, that are trying to really bring George Clooney back on track now when it comes to his movies, when it comes to his projects that he was supposed to work on that he's no longer working on. And many studios, by the way, are beginning to drop him. They are beginning to either shift away from him, blacklist him, whatever it may be, but focusing on Clooney now and his overall behavior, his reaction behind the scenes after losing millions of fans, by the way, I think truly is going to really speak volumes when it comes to how a lot of these actors are going to begin to present themselves in a very fake manner, right? We know that they're trying to quote-unquote apologize now for what they did back in June, July, August, George Clooney taking part in that commercial, that political commercial about promoting the fact of lying to your spouse on who you vote for was ridiculous. Now, here we go, alright? Now, with the entire media now in financial flames and are desperately trying to recover, the Hollywood bubble is also struggling since the general public took a stand against wokeism and all of their agendas. Now, one monumental development going on now involves more to do with George Clooney and his recent behavior after officially losing millions of fans, in which he did. These statistics were recently calculated through various studios and various streaming services that saw a massive decline in viewership for all of George Clooney's past work in both film and television. Where he was recently informed about these new statistics from his agent and manager, it turns out that Clooney got very emotional and presented multiple moments of outrage toward his entire team that was reportedly so loud and explosive that it erupted throughout various studios that he is still associated with to this very day, as more studios are now beginning to drop him. This in turn is now beginning, of course, and now bringing George Clooney to go with a desperate move to now go on the Howard Stern show after getting rejected by Bill Maher to go on his show to apologize with HBO and presenting his side of the story for the 2025 schedule. Turns out that now all eyes are on Howard Stern, and Stern, get this, reportedly is the first person to agree to have George Clooney on his show and to do a combination of things, such as doubling down on his agenda, while at the same exact time apologizing about his political comments that he made both in June and December of this year. Now, Clooney is also reportedly furious with the producers and writers that created the political commercial about promoting lying to their spouse on who they vote for. Clooney is already reportedly trying to set up a narrative that he was secretly against that version of the commercial that was actually put out on the air. This Hail Mary that is now set to be presented on Howard Stern is now reportedly going to air sometime at the end of January, alright? So the end of next month and many weeks before the Oscars debuts on television. And speaking about the Oscars, this is where it gets worse. Clooney has become so unlikable that even the Oscars are now pressuring Clooney to, of course, not attend the actual event. Though they're not forcing him, they are pressuring him to not attend the event at all and to cancel all of his planned speeches on presenting awards at the Oscars, since they now believe that him going there would be bad for ratings, especially after losing millions of fans. This in turn created an uproar between Clooney and his team against those behind the Oscars for 2025. Now guys, let me say one thing about this. Now, Am I really all that shocked that the Oscars wants nothing to do with George Clooney now? Not really. I mean, I think that we all saw something like this coming. I mean, think about it. When you're an actor that loses millions of fans, do you think the Oscars would want you to have, someone like Clooney to go on live television? I doubt so. It's the same exact thing with Will Smith, alright? Not only did Will Smith do a terrible thing against Chris Rock back in 2022 for slapping him in the face, but it would also be bad for ratings. There's no doubt about that. For having him on there, that would be bad for business. Same exact thing applies here for George Clooney, though this is a little bit different. Like I said just seconds ago, they're not forcing him to not attend the Oscars, but they are pressuring him. They are giving him bold advice. Do not come, because we do believe that it's going to impact our ratings, and we also believe it's going to be bad for you. That's how they see it. That's basically how they're telling George Clooney. And I think it's also bad for them. You would think that they would force George Clooney to not attend, because it's going to deeply impact their ratings, and I think George Clooney would know better to not attend. Moving on. So, to top things off, to make matters worse for George Clooney is that to set the record straight and to share his side of the story, it is only going to be done through Howard Stern, since so many popular podcasts, radio shows, and talk shows have already shot down Clooney's requests to use their platforms as a vessel to repair his career. This all comes weeks after getting fired from many Warner Brothers, of course, projects, such as Ocean's 14 and its many spin-offs that were in the works that are now no longer moving ahead. However, Clooney's agent and manager are trying to create a legal case to challenge all of that as another desperate move. We'll have a lot more to talk about that, by the way, within the next week and a half. So stay tuned on that. Again, George Clooney really in a full panic mode right now because he doesn't really quite know what to do. I'm shocked that we have this big movement where you have people like Bill Maher rejecting George Clooney. You have even The View. I don't know if you caught this, but we talked about this last week. Even The View's Sunny Hostin does not want George Clooney on the show. Alright? They don't want him on that show. They don't want him on live television on ABC because they feel that he would tank ratings even further. That's how bad it is. And the fact that you have Howard Stern, which I think is a very low way to go, to apologize or to present your side of the story, I think it's a very terrible way to do things, but hey, you do you, George. He's going on there by the end of next month to really both doubling down on his agenda and also apologizing, which I think is a terrible mix. It's hypocritical, is it not? But yeah, I mean, George Clooney, yet again, he really has no idea what to do at this point. I think he's not thinking clearly. He's really just dealing with a lot of different angles right now of where to go, on how to really piece back his career. All the broken pieces, he's trying to patch it all together again. I don't think that he's going to be able to, because people don't forget things like that, especially participating in a commercial about promoting lying to your spouse. Overall, I would like to hear what you all have to say about this below in the comments, and if you guys did enjoy the content for today, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel, and I will catch you guys later.